Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be 12 Principles of Successful Relationships. Well, the principles I'm going to go through with you today are from psychologists, therapists, people that are like the top in their fields, along with several psychological studies that have been done and I've read over the years. And I thought I'd share these with you because I've got an email from a guy that I've been coaching a little over 6 years. And when he first came to me, he was like I once was, and probably a large majority of the people that have found my YouTube channel and my website, and that is they never really have felt like they've been able to date the quality person that they've always wanted to. And in life, anytime you feel like you can't achieve the things you want, whether it's the dream career or the dream business or the dream lover or having the toys and things that you want, the kind of house that you want, living the kind of lifestyle you want, being able to travel where you want, when you want, and with who you want, it can be incredibly frustrating. And the average person that you're going to encounter in life is living a life that is way less than what they're capable of. And they're settling for a life of mediocrity. And all these people who have made the decision to play it safe, if you will, and live a life of mediocrity, we're surrounded by those people. And they're all looking to justify the decisions that they've made about their own lives. That's why it's so critically important that you surround yourself by the kind of people who are going to lift you higher instead of keep you firmly stuck in place. And so this particular guy, he had met this woman that he wanted to date, but she ended up being, she had a boyfriend, or I can't remember, it's been so long now. She was unavailable. And they work at the same company, but they lived in different cities and worked in different divisions. And at some point, she became single, and because I'd been coaching him, he was ready. He was able to handle dating her, seducing her successfully, and now they're engaged to be married. So fast forward after 5 years of lots of great times, lots of great memories, he was at a bachelor party with friends recently, and apparently there was a couple really cute girls that tagged along, and one of them that was really into him, and obviously he found very attractive. And he didn't do anything, he didn't hook up with this girl, but ever since then, now he's starting to question, am I making the right decision? Should I really be getting married? So I'm going to go through his email. I got a quote that I wrote on this topic. I'm going to go through his email, and then I'm going to go through these 12 individual principles and see how they apply to his situation so he can make an informed, intelligent decision on whether or not he's in the right relationship or if the grass really is truly greener on the other side and he should be single again. So the quote says, people who have high standards for themselves and who crave success are repulsed by the thought of settling for a life that is less than what they are capable of living. Successful people want the best that life has to offer in their personal lives, careers, businesses, health, and lifestyles. When you give life your best effort, it gives you peace of mind to accept any and all outcomes without second-guessing yourself. People who are too timid and fearful to give their very best are forced to live a life of mediocrity and feeling like the grass is greener on the other side. The greatest tragedy in life is to get to the end of your life and realize that you never have truly lived and made the effort to see what you are truly capable of. So with that in mind, let's go through his email. He says, Dear Coach, I hope all is well. I have been catching up on your coaching video newsletters and your Instagram quotes. They constantly offer refreshing reminders, and I always learn something new. Every day I think of something that you have taught me and about the amazing turning point in my life since you began sharing your wisdom with me. I am engaged to the woman of my dreams. This is the girl that I first sought your advice about. I blew it with her the first year I met her. 2 years later, I got another shot, and with your teachings and coaching, I finally began dating her. We have been dating now for 5 years, and I have some of the best memories of my life with her. And that's the important thing. If you have a business that you fucking love, that maybe you built from nothing, just an idea, and it became a great success, or maybe you bought into a business, or you bought a franchise and you made a success, those kinds of things give you great memories. Dating the kind of person that at one point in your life you thought was way out of your league, no way you could ever date somebody like that, and then you're dating somebody like that, you're in a relationship with somebody like that, you're making love to them. Traveling to the kind of dream destinations. Like I remember a girlfriend of mine, I went to Paris, and then we went through all the Normandy where the D-Day landings were, because I've always been really big into World War II history, and just history in general. I've always been a history buff. So it was really cool for me to actually go and see all these battlefields, these areas where all these famous things took place in Europe that I'd always been studying about, literally since I was in elementary school, and also hearing my grandfathers talk about what they experienced during World War II. And that was an epic thing for me. Those were, like, I remember my vacation that I took when I went to see Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. I've been dreaming about that since I was a fucking kid. And it wasn't until I was 29 years old I went to actually go and be able to see all those things, to go to the Arizona Memorial and see those little droplets of oil that even all these decades later still bubble to the surface. And when the oil hits the surface, it just dissipates. And it's just really eerie being over that with all the history. And because I think everybody's seen the Arizona the moment it got struck and blew up, and the old black and white films. And it's just really wonderful that when you dream about something, you fantasize about something from the time you're a little kid, and then you get to experience that as an adult. I mean, it's incredible. That's the whole point of striving for greatness, striving to put your best effort in everything that you do in life so you can have great memories the older you get. Because like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, most people are just trying to get through Monday through Friday and get to the weekend and then have an escape, if you will, from their lives. And then it's like those people, the overwhelming majority of people that are in nursing homes, they're on their deathbeds, most of them are just full of regret. I wish I'd have taken more risks. I wish I'd have spent more time with my friends. I wished I'd have asked out that person I always wanted to. I wish I'd have started that business I always dreamed about. I wish I'd have really gone into that career that I was really excited about, but I decided to be realistic. You don't want to be one of those people on your deathbed thinking, what if? What would have happened? How different would my life have been if I would have done? And as I wrote about in my book, I had an experience when I was married that I ran into this girl, and I wrote about this in my book, who it was like love at first sight for me when I met in high school. I mean, she had a boyfriend all through high school, and I got to know her as a friend, but she had a boyfriend, and we went off to college, and we just kind of lost touch. And like 10 years later, after a year of being married, I ran into this girl again, and I started talking with her again, and it's like that same connection, that same energy came back. And the thing was, I never felt that way about my wife, even though she was beautiful, she was a great girl. We had a lot of fucking fun together. But it's like that invisible soul connection, if you will. That there's something missing there, and it really fucking bothered me, and it started an awakening in me that I just said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't lie to myself and lie to my wife and lie to everybody I know about what I really think and what I feel on the inside. I have to act upon it. And I've never regretted that decision, even though it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I mean, I could have been one of those people that lived my whole life and then end up on my deathbed someday wondering, what if? I've had so many great experiences, so many great memories since then. And that was just like one event in my life. I've had other events where I was working jobs that I once was really passionate about, but I got to a certain place and I realized the internal enthusiasm wasn't there, and it was time to do something else. I mean, getting to a place where I was in real estate, where I was making $500,000 a year, I had 2 business partners, we have over 40 employees, we were just this great kick-ass company that we built with all these really cool people. To get out of that and then to just start something completely different and become a full-time life coach, It takes a lot of fucking balls to do that. And it takes a lot of balls to do that when everybody around you thinks you've just totally lost your fucking mind and you're fucking crazy. And there's just... And then, of course, when you succeed, oh, I knew you'd make it. So it's tough. It's tough to follow your heart. It's, your feelings are your truth. So he continues on, I write to you now to ask for your much-needed advice again. I will make this as brief as possible. Recently, I spent some time with some old friends and their friends, 9 of us, during a bachelor party weekend. We had a blast going to a few clubs and bars, which I haven't done in quite some time. 2 beautiful younger women tagged along in our limo one night, and someone in the group made this happen. I don't know who or when or how. Fast forward through the night, and one of them is sitting on my lap at a strip club. Go figure, she wasn't a stripper. These girls did not mind coming along with us. Obviously, they had an interest. They had a high level of interest in spending time with you. I was extremely aloof with her, borderline cold fish, but extremely attracted to her. So she could tell that you were into her, but obviously you were holding back. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. So, duh. And plus you're in a non-hungry state because you're in a happy relationship with your dream woman. At least you, up until this point, you were thinking she was your dream woman. I could tell it was mutual. I avoided her as much as possible because I knew what would happen if I didn't. A day goes by, and my buddies and I are doing guy things. Last night of the weekend, actually at 3 a.m., one of my buddies gets a text. These 2 girls wanted to hang out and go swimming at the house that we had rented. I hit the sack because I had a flight in a few hours, but some of the guys stayed up because of a later flight. Who comes walking in my room later but this girl? I couldn't believe it, but I wasn't surprised at the same time. Well, women help you when they like you. It was very confusing. Nonetheless, I could not have sex with this girl for the fear of the consequences, and so I didn't. Well, that's the right thing to do. That's the honorable thing to do. And a girlfriend of mine, we were talking about this the other day, and when she and I, we've been friends for close to 25 years. We know each other really well. We've been great friends. And it was funny, I was like, because we were actually talking about this particular email, because I was like, I'm going to do a video on it. And she, we were talking, and things she said, it was totally spot on. You're always you're the rest of your life, no matter how much you love the person you're with, or you think they're bad to the bone, you're going to see other people that you're going to find attractive. That's just the reality of things. However, what you do with that attraction really says a lot about who you are. And like for me, running into that cheerleader, that former high school cheerleader who I had a huge crush on, who I was doubting that from the time I even got engaged, I was doubting that I should marry my wife. And then here I am talking to this girl, and at the particular time, she hadn't talked to her husband in about a week, and they had had a fight, and she wasn't happy in her marriage, and I was second-guessing myself, and I was thinking, isn't this interesting? As much as I wanted to kiss this girl, and as much as I wanted to hang out, I was staying at my father and mother-in-law's house. It's like, it just wasn't the right thing to do, even though I was really attracted to this girl, and it did start the wheels turning. In I think it was like 2-3 months later, I finally said, I got to end this relationship. It's not fair to either one of us. I never hooked up with that girl. I never saw her or spoke to her after that, but it was one of those moments that comes along and it makes you think, how committed are you to this? How much do you really want something? He says, I did, however, kiss her before telling her to leave. Naughty boy. I gave her no explanation. You should have said, you're very beautiful and I'd love to kiss you and I'd love to hook up, but I'm engaged to be married. And you're amazing, but I'm taken and I'm very flattered by your interest. You should have been honest with her, dude. I've never felt so brave and cowardly at the same time. Now I have an ache for this girl like I got stabbed in the heart. It makes me wonder if I am making a terrible mistake by being engaged. Your last newsletter mentioned that there are no coincidences in life, and it got me thinking. It's true. Everything happens for a reason. So the question is you got to look at this particular woman and how you felt about her and how you interacted with her and what does it mean about your present relationship with your fiance. And like I've said many times, I can help you get what you want as a coach. I can help you cause the woman of your dreams to fall in love with you, but I can't cause you to stay in love with that person and want to stay with them forever. It's really a conscious choice, and it comes down to goals, values, and obviously compatibility. Any advice will be appreciated. Thank you again for being the best in the world at what you do. So let's go through these 12 principles because this is the important thing. So the first principle is relationships that stand the test of time. They remain curious about their partner. In other words, they don't think they know everything about their partner, and there's just always something that causes them to stick around and wonder what's going to happen next. Number 2, they remain proud of and they admire their partner. So are you curious about your fiance? Are you still curious about her? Is she still interesting and fascinating to you? Are you proud of her? Are you proud that she is your fiance? Are you proud that she is your girl? Number 3, they maintain their personal lives, friendships, and interests outside of their relationship, which respects the individuality of each partner. They continue being who they are before they met and share their completeness instead of trying to complete each other. A big problem that guys that are in long-term relationships that are having problems or they're trying to re-attract somebody have is they get into a relationship and all their friends, their hobbies, their interests, one by one, their girl picks each one of these off and gives them a reason why they need to get rid of it, or that friend, or that car that they race, or the mountain biking that they like to do, or that rock climbing club that they've joined. These guys end up giving up everything they were, that individual, really awesome, interesting human being that they were. They stop being that. Well, in successful relationships, that continues. Your individuality continues. Because when you give that up, you in essence stop being the interesting person they fell in love with. Number 4, they truly rejoice in the success of their partner. They're happy for one another. They're excited for their partner when something good. I'm so happy that this happened to you or that happened to you. I'm so happy. I'm so proud you got that promotion at work. I'm so glad that you grew your business. You've doubled it in the past year. Amazing. Good job. I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so honored to be your partner. Number 5, they value quality relationships over quantity of relationships. I've always been a person who values quality everything. I know there are some guys out there that are hunters. They like to hunt and they like to hook up. They like to talk women who initially aren't that into them into dating and seducing them. And once they achieve and they score, boom, they're on to the next. There are people that are like that, and that's fine. But when it comes to having long-term relationships, and not only do these things apply really for your personal life, but also your friendships. I had a successful business partnership for 10 years. And not only, I had 2 business partners. Not only was I in business with these guys, but both of them were married. And so I, in essence, was in business partnership with their wives. And one of the guys was married, and then he left his wife when we were working together and ended up dating, and later on, years later, ended up marrying a girl that worked for us. And so that creates interesting dynamics. So you got to think about the other people. When you have business partnerships, you got to be able to get along. You got to be able to talk things out. Number 6, communication and understanding each other is a priority. Conflicts and disagreements are resolved quickly and not allowed to fester. When you are upset, I listen. They don't leave each other in pain, but instead talk about it and repair their relationship. They don't make each other wrong, but seek to understand where the other person is coming from and why they feel the way they do. This is so important. If you find yourself dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody, their answer whenever there's a problem is, I don't want to talk about it, that relationship just ain't going to last. I have dated women that are like that, and it's so frustrating. And the only women that I've kept in contact with and remained friends with, even after our intimate relationship ended, are women that are great fucking communicators. And when you have somebody that's a great communicator, you can end a relationship in a healthy way. You get somebody that's just a belligerent asshole and won't talk to you, won't communicate. It's just best that you move those people right out of your life and you never speak again. Because they're not really going to add any value. They're just going to bring drama. Number 7, they value loyalty and commitment. In other words, dating somebody who is a habitual cheater, they just don't value loyalty and commitment. It doesn't mean anything. Thinking that just because you're married or because you live together or you have a label, whatever that happens to be, married, living together, if the other person just really has a history of not respecting that as a value, you can't expect them to be faithful to you. It's just not important to them. When they're not happy, they go and they cheat. And what's interesting about this guy, he had an opportunity to cheat, and he did not. Yeah, he kissed this girl, and he definitely should not have done that. But the bottom line is he didn't hook up with her, and he sent her on his way. And he should have told her that he was engaged. But what's done is done. Number 8, they share similar goals and values. Number 9, it's better to be alone than in bad company. Staying in bad relationships shortens your lifespan, and it makes people that are in those relationships less happy than single people who are lonely. Number 10, good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Number 11, they never threaten ending the relationship when there are problems or conflicts. They just work it out. Number 12, and this is like the kiss of death. Contempt for the other person is the kiss of death in relationships. In other words, getting to a place where you feel like you are better than them, or being with them is kind of beneath you, where you're hostile to one another, you don't like each other anymore, you don't want to be together. So looking at your situation based on these 12 values, you got to ask yourself, does your relationship have all 12 of these things? In other words, obviously, instead of having contempt for your partner, you're proud of her. You admire her. You respect her. So you got to ask yourself, so the only reason that you really would be interested in this girl, it's like people that cheat, one of the other things is like it's exciting, it's new. And one of our 6 human needs is variety. So has your relationship after all these years become dull and boring? Is it the same thing over and over? Do you always know what's going to happen next? And as the leader of your relationship, what are you doing to mix things up? If you got stuck in your routine, it's up to you to be the leader. Go on a trip somewhere else. Try a different restaurant for a change. Go do something that you normally wouldn't do together. And remember, what is the whole purpose of all relationships? You go there to give. You're there to meet each other's needs, help each other grow, and become more. And as far as this other girl that you were sexually attracted to, I mean, you really don't know anything about her. You don't know about her goals or her values. And what if you would have told her that you were in a relationship? Would she have respected that, or would she have not given a shit? And that would have told you everything about her. If she would have not given a damn and wanted to hook up with you, obviously loyalty probably not something real high on her list of values. So you got to think about, what does your girlfriend bring to the table? Does she have most of these qualities? And again, when I talk to people, 99% of the time, guys in long-term relationships that aren't doing well, what they all tend to have in common is they stop dating and courting their wife or their girlfriend at some point. And it's a matter of getting back to making her feel loved, courted, and special. So the question is, has that happened to you? Have you gotten to a place in your relationship where you're starting to take her for granted, On Friday night, you're just hanging out, ordering pizza and grabbing some beers and watching some sports or doing Netflix and chilling. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, yeah, that's going to get fucking boring. You got to have interesting experiences. So I would ask yourself that. I mean, I can't make the decision for you. It's not my job as a coach to make your decision. It's just to give you the resources and the tools so you can make an intelligent, informed decision. And you got to look at it. Because at the end of the day, say you leave her and you go find somebody else. You got to find out all these other things. Remember, like tends to attract like. You're a very stable dude. You have a very stable, consistent job. And so does your fiance. You both, and I assume you still work for the same company. Like attracts like. You're both very stable in that type of a position in life. And so what's missing? In other words, the reason people cheat is something is missing from their relationship. So what is it? So instead of looking for something outside of the relationship, look at, well, what can I do to spice the relationship up? In other words, what could this woman have given you that your fiance either isn't giving you or you feel is not compelling enough to cause you to want to look to another woman to potentially meet it? And find a way to get back to that place where you were. But also, sometimes relationships just run their course. You might love them and things are great for several years, and then your goals just simply are no longer aligned. That's happened to me a few times in my life. It's not that we weren't getting along or the relationship was bad. It's just that we didn't want the same things anymore. We just tended to either grow together or you grow apart. And these are some things that you have to decide for yourself. Are you and your fiance still growing together, or are you growing apart? So if I were you, I also have all these 12 principles on my website and the website article, but you might want to rewind the video and listen to a couple of those again and make a list. And if some of those things are missing or are not as good as they could be, then you should make an effort to change things in your relationship and make your best effort in your relationship and then see how things go before you make the decision to pull the plug and say, screw this, I want to go hook up with this girl. Because again, you don't really know anything about this chick. Right now, it's just a fantasy. Yeah, you're sexually attracted to her, but the bottom line is she ain't going to be the first girl that you're going to find sexually attractive, and she's certainly not going to be the last girl that you're going to find sexually attractive. But if all of your needs are being met, you can enjoy your attraction for somebody else. You just don't have to act upon it. And the fact that you didn't act upon it tells me that you value loyalty, communication, commitment, and what you have with your fiance. In other words, the downside risk was too great. Definitely something to think about. So that tells me that you obviously still value what you have. So if you'd like to get my help personally, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions for booking whichever coaching option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.